Hello and welcome to Volume 2 of the Club Improvement Series presented by GoFigure Business and Membership Management Software Company. My name is Kyle Zagrodzky. I'm the president and founder of GoFigure. Our intent with these series is to take all the knowledge and experience that we gather from our travels around the world. GoFigure currently serves thousands of customers in over 50 countries and 14 languages, and we've been doing it for 13 years. We talk to many professionals across this industry, from independent club owners to owners of large and successful chains, as well as owners of equipment companies, motivational speakers, trainers, and other owners of other companies that service this industry. We take that experience and those interactions, we find out what's working across the country, around the world, and in small to large cities, and we deliver it to you in what we think matters the most and that can be delivered and consumed quickly by you. Our overriding philosophy in delivering news to you is to never waste your time and to take as little time to teach a new concept to you as possible. Again, my name is Kyle Zagrodzky, and this is Volume 2. Volume number 1 of the Club Improvement Series, I talked about the benefits of using outdoor exercise classes. The outdoors exercise classes are a great way to increase and add a new experience for your members, but also to add new revenue. I also talked about a new competitive threat that we all need to stand up and take very seriously. Microsoft announced, of course, that it's coming out with a new gaming console, and in that gaming console, they are going to have a health and fitness component to it. Their research, according to their PR release, tells them that they're going to be able to snipe 15 to 20% of the health club paying members in the world to use their system in a person's home as opposed to coming to the health club. If 15 to 20% of our members transfer to working out at home as to our facilities, then we've essentially failed. We failed in this regard. We failed to understand that we are not necessarily, or possibly anymore, in the products and services business. We are in the member experience business. Because if we can't create experiences and professional relationships with our members in such a way that they don't see the value of coming into our gym to get results over going at home, then frankly, I don't think we deserve those members. The club owners that understand that they're in the member experience business and implement techniques and tools to achieve those ends will be successful, and I think not only a little successful, wildly successful, because as your competitors close down, as 15 to 20% of their members go to work out in front of their TVs, there's 80% of their members left over, and they've got to have somewhere to go. So let's go ahead and elevate our businesses to a member experience, and possibly maybe we could even impact the success of the Microsoft gaming system, a new and serious competitor. Rest assured, and one other comment, if Microsoft achieves their end of taking many new members to their system to work out in front of their TV, also other technology companies will as well. I can imagine that this competitive threat will continue, but do not lose heart, because there are many things that a TV can't deliver that we in face-to-face and our health clubs can, and that's what we're trying to talk about today. One of the things I promised I was going to be discussing in Volume 2 was how to create better professional relationships between members as well as staff and members, because we know that that's a relationship that can enhance their experience at your club and keep them members longer. But before I got there, I had an epiphany this weekend that I wanted to go and share with you. It's a base philosophical understanding that your staff needs to ingrain to get the most out of them and their interactions with the members. I truly believe that if a person, a staff member, or anybody in their walk of life or career or profession does not understand and implement this philosophy, then they are simply motivated by dollars, okay? There's nothing wrong, and of course I've got many different currencies here, there's nothing wrong with being motivated by money. I could be motivated by money. However, if it is your primary motivator, then it will only leave you empty and bitter in the long run, because it's no fun to work for somebody if you think that somebody is just benefiting from your hard work and trying to buy a bigger house, a better car, or a better life experience than you as an employee can get yourself. And so I want to talk about this underlying philosophy first in this series, and then in the next Volume 3 I will talk about techniques to improve relationships among members and staff. Okay, now next let's go ahead and get started then. All right, I'm going to talk about a book recommendation, because in this book recommendation this philosophy is discussed extremely well. The name of the book is called Gung Ho, and it is written by Ken Blanchard, the author of The 1 Minute Manager. I think he's probably more famous for The 1 Minute Manager, but for me, in my experience in running this company, Gung Ho actually had a better and more impact for me. Now, I gave away my copy of Gung Ho many years ago, and I went to this bookstore this weekend to go try to pick another copy. I bought that copy and then immediately gave that one away. Hey, giving away books is one of the best gifts that you can give, in my opinion. So I don't have one to show you, so I just printed out a picture of the Gung Ho book. That's what it looks like. So I just printed it out on my computer for you guys, and I'm going to talk about one philosophy in there. The thing that gave me the epiphany, that made me think about this, was a good friend of mine, Joseph Herndon. Joseph is a residential and commercial contractor in Portland, Oregon. And he's been in the business for 25 years, and I've seen this guy in action. He's extremely hard worker, does very detailed work, and cares a lot about what he does. But one of his frustrations in being a contractor over the year was that he had subcontractors and employees that just didn't care as much as he did, and they would do shoddy craftsmanship. They would do things to the house that would simply not be really in the best interest of the person who would be buying that home or building or whatever, and it would make him frustrated, and he would fire people over the years for doing those kinds of things. And it occurred to me that they just didn't care about what they did because they didn't think that they were serving a purpose higher than themselves. One of the concepts of this book, and the reason why this is a great book, in addition just to excellent writing and analysis, but it's based upon a true story. And in this story, there is a general manager of a factory that is actually trying to improve her leadership and management skills, okay? And she seeks the help of someone else who's a Native American Indian whose father taught him some management principles that he applied and made him very successful in what he did. And the first principle is called the way of the squirrel. Now, before you laugh and fall out of your chair and think, okay, this guy's off his rocker, the way of the squirrel is an excellent metaphor for human nature. The squirrels in this particular book, and really in real life, if you choose to sit and watch squirrels for a while, especially at the timing of this filming, which is this fall, the squirrels in my backyard are working their tails off, okay? The reason why they're doing that is the winter months are coming, and they are gathering nuts to survive through the winter. They'll store them in their trees, and all squirrels living in those trees will benefit from it. The work that they're doing is for their survival. The work that they're doing benefits the community of squirrels living in that tree. The work that they're doing, in essence, is worthwhile and bigger than themselves. Human beings will work very hard if they think that and they not only think that, if they know that the work that they're doing serves a cause bigger than themselves. There are two industries that consistently elicit a quality of work and commitment out of people that you will not see anywhere else in the world, and that is the military, because people feel like serving their country is bigger than themselves, and in the service of God. People will go on mission work, they will work for very little money, and they will work tirelessly in serving God. There's evidence of that all over the world. I'm not going to get into the benefits of mission work or the military at this particular time, but if you understand these two industries, you will know right away that they don't make very much money as a whole, and they work extremely hard and long hours. How do we get that level of commitment out of an employee, and how are they supposed to see that the work that they do is worthwhile? Well, I could tell you this. I took this principle and made it and put it into operations in the operations of our 9 health clubs years ago. And one of the things that I told my club owners or told my staff was this: if a person comes into the club and they are obese, statistics show us that that person is going to live 7 years shorter than someone who isn't obese. That's 7 years of life that that person doesn't get to enjoy. And not only is it 7 years of life, but we know that when a person comes towards the end of their life, especially as is dying of lack of health, that the several years leading up to their end are unpleasant years. And so I say this to you, that if we can do something to help somebody enjoy that last 7 years of their life or get them back, we've added time that that person can spend with their grandchildren, their children, their spouse. And these things matter because, ladies and gentlemen, us in the club, being able to extend somebody's life, picture this: we are a drop of water in a still pond, and we could resonate throughout their entire lives. So when somebody comes into the club and they're obese, which is a huge problem affecting the United States, but also now affecting many other parts of the world, people are going to be dying sooner. And when somebody comes to the club and they're obese, they're intimidated. They are lacking motivation, and I can tell you right now, working out is probably the last thing that they're going to try before they completely give up. That person needs a special level of attention. They need to know that you care. They need to know that it's going to be fun. They need to know it's going to be motivating, and they need to know deep down inside this is going to be the place that gets them the results to succeed. They need to be able to succeed. They need to be able to taste success, and there are many opportunities of failures and road bumps along the way when somebody tries to go from obese to becoming fit. I've seen this before. It's very difficult, and we have to stay connected and motivated as staff. If your staff does not see that spending the extra time, the extra pat on the back, the attaboys and the way to goes, and the teaching them how to do a workout correctly, not because they're paying extra for it, just because they're walking by. Okay, if you're walking by somebody doing an exercise incorrectly and you don't acknowledge them or offer to help them do something better, shame on you. Because if that person doesn't feel like they're getting the attention they deserve and they quit, the result is that we are responsible for that reduction of life by 7 years, and we take it very serious as a club owner. Our staff member understands that they are serving this very valiant principle, this principle that is bigger than themselves. It is my belief that you're going to be able to go to the next step of creating relationships among your staff, staff to member, and member-member relationships, because you have a staff that understands that what they are doing is worthwhile in the scheme of what society actually needs right now. And that is the first step on how we're going to go ahead and create these relationships, how we're going to deliver a better experience for your members and to keep them longer. As we ride this economy and this recession and now this new competitive threat, we need to become better. We need to become better not because just necessarily because we need the money to survive. We need to become better because it's better for society. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the same philosophy that we try to implement right here at Go Figure. When you call up here at Go Figure, we understand if you are having a computer problem or a question or a virus and it's got you down, let's say, I know this, when you call in on a tech support line, you're not doing it because you're having something's going right for you. You're doing it because you are frustrated. And I know it's the last thing people want to do. At Go Figure, our tech support hold times are only 1 minute and 30 seconds. But we try to train many of our tech support staff to understand this principle, that you are the front line of the fitness industry, that you are the people that are trying to turn obesity around in this country, and that if you people hang up the phone with a bad attitude or mad at your computer, that attitude could transfer over to a member that needs you today, and that member may cancel if you are in a bad attitude about your computer not working the way you want it to. And that would make us responsible for reducing someone's life by 7 years, and that I do not want on my conscience. At Go Figure, we do care about your members. We care about you and the people you serve. We take our job very seriously. We want your software to be user-friendly, headache-free, and that your interactions with us to be positive. That is our goal. We hope that you use our software. We give you a 60-day satisfaction guarantee to experience this for yourself. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I've been in this industry for over 13 years, and I know that while money is a great motivator for most people, it can't be your primary motivator. And so I hope that you take the information from this series. I hope that it was useful to you. Please go to our website, igofigure.com, and in the Contact Us area, if you click on that, you will see a link to contact the CEO. That's me. Click on that link and leave me a message. I want to know whether or not these series, these volumes of the Club Improvement Series are useful to you. If this information is presented in a way that you can use it, I want to know good, bad, or ugly. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Of course, you would probably uplift me with a positive comment, but that's not the intent. I need to know how to improve this information and whether or not it's useful, because I never want to waste your time. Thank you for watching, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you tuning in. Have a great rest of your day.